The spring of 1945 brought us to the outskirts of Berlin, the heart of Nazi Germany. As a Soviet soldier, I had seen the devastation and horror of war for years, but nothing could have prepared me for the final push into the enemy's capital. We were battle-hardened, fueled by a desire to end the war and avenge the suffering inflicted upon our homeland. The air was thick with tension as we advanced. Our tanks rolled forward, crushing the debris of what had once been a proud city. Buildings lay in ruins, smoke billowing into the sky, and the distant sound of artillery was a constant reminder of the ferocity of the battle. We moved cautiously, knowing that every corner could hide a desperate enemy. Our orders were clear: take the city at all costs. As we entered Berlin, the resistance was fierce. The German soldiers, including young members of the Hitler Youth, fought with a fanaticism born of desperation. They were outnumbered and outgunned, but they defended their positions with a determination that made every advance a struggle. One of the most intense moments came when we approached a heavily fortified building. The Germans had turned it into a stronghold, and it was imperative that we take it. Under cover of darkness, we crept closer, our hearts pounding in unison with the distant explosions. The silence of the night was shattered by the sudden roar of gunfire as we launched our assault. We stormed the building, the clash of metal and the cries of wounded soldiers filling the air. The corridors were a maze of debris and bodies, and every step forward was met with fierce resistance. I remember the face of a young German soldier, barely older than a boy, as he tried to defend his position. His fear mirrored my own, but in that moment, we were enemies, bound by the cruel necessities of war. Despite their fierce defense, the Germans were slowly pushed back. The building was ours, but the cost was high. The losses on both sides were staggering, and the once grand structure was reduced to a shell, a haunting testament to the ferocity of the battle. As we moved deeper into the city, the resistance became sporadic. The German forces were crumbling, their spirit broken by the relentless advance of the Red Army. Yet, the civilian population remained, their faces etched with a mixture of fear and resignation. We encountered families huddled in basements, their homes reduced to rubble above them. The sight of children, eyes wide with terror, brought a pang of sorrow to my heart. This was the true cost of war: innocent lives caught in the crossfire of a conflict they had no part in creating. The final days of the battle were a blur of smoke and fire. The Reichstag, once a symbol of Nazi power, became our ultimate target. The fighting was brutal, the building defended to the last man. We fought our way inside, the sound of gunfire echoing through the grand halls. As we raised the Soviet flag over the Reichstag, a wave of triumph washed over us. The war in Europe was drawing to a close. Yet, amidst the victory, there was a profound sense of loss. The comrades who had fallen, the destruction we had witnessed, and the suffering endured by countless civilians weighed heavily on my soul. As a Soviet soldier, I had fought for my country, for justice, and for peace. But the Battle of Berlin had shown me the devastating cost of those ideals. The war was ending, but the memories of the battle would stay with me forever. I had survived the final push into Berlin, a witness to the fall of the Third Reich. And as I stood among the ruins, I vowed to honor the memory of those who had fallen, to remember the lessons of war, and to cherish the peace we had fought so hard to achieve.